A stunning act of violence in Seattle's Pioneer Square.
So many lives are shattered because of this. A beautiful little girl.
A mother shares her grief as police share the lead they're chasing in this quadruple shooting. A family hike takes a turn for the desperate.
It's super easy to get turned around in that hiking area.
See how a drone pilot went above and beyond in this search and rescue. Breaking the law and living rent-free.
In total, I see 57 warrants since 2013.
It's a case that highlights the serious concerns with a homeless housing plan in Kirkland. Tonight, in the Spotlight.
The Spotlight brought to you by Beacon Plumbing.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Spotlight. Thank you for joining us. I'm David Rose. Tonight, we are shining a spotlight on a controversial plan to house the homeless in a former motel. In 2022, King County announced the purchase of the La Quinta Inn in Kirkland to provide permanent housing for the homeless. Last summer, Plymouth Housing was chosen to operate it when it opens in the fourth quarter of this year. The motel is located on Northup Way in the Houghton neighborhood, right on the border of Bellevue, where Plymouth already runs a similar housing development in the Eastgate neighborhood called the Plymouth Crossing Apartments. At the most recent Houghton Neighborhood Housing Association meeting, neighbors heard from a Plymouth representative who touted their success with providing housing to those in need.
And the gentleman in this photo, Michael, had lost his job and was living out of his RV in Redmond. Year before last, he moved into Plymouth Crossing, our building in Bellevue. He receives on-site clinical support tailored to his health needs, and this on-site support, combined with a more stable living environment, has given him a solid base to manage his health and plan for the future.
Well, that is great news, and they do put a roof over the heads of almost 1,400 people in King County. But with that comes an increased need for law enforcement services. For example, take the number of police calls for service at Plymouth Crossing in Bellevue. They have increased dramatically, from 5 in the second half of 2023 compared to 148 in 2024. Within a half-mile radius of the apartments, police calls for service increased from 609 to 1,082. It's data like that causing concern for neighbors in Kirkland who are worried about safety issues because the La Quinta is near a number of schools. They want drug use in the rooms to be prohibited, fearing if it's not, it will bring drug dealers to the neighborhood and lead to a rise in car prowls and burglaries. Plymouth Housing says they are committed to being a good neighbor, but believes everyone is entitled to privacy in their own home, and they will not require tenants to accept drug treatment. But what about a tenant with a long criminal history, arrested for a whole slew of new crimes? Do they deserve free housing?
In total, I see 57 warrants since 2013, 3 active warrants out of 3 separate jurisdictions in my latest review of jobs, which was this morning.
Richard Julius is currently a resident of the King County Jail. He's been there since February 21st. Before that, he was living rent-free at the Plymouth Crossing Apartments in Bellevue, where court documents show him coming and going after allegedly committing multiple crimes, including car thefts and 5 counts of ID theft for using victims' stolen credit cards. Police say he's a danger to the public after he was arrested for attempting to elude a pursuing police vehicle.
On page 20 of the PC cert describes Mr. Julius driving recklessly and ramming police cars in an effort to escape.
Bellevue PD Detective Jeff Christensen provided some additional detail on the pursuit.
That happened in the middle of the day around noon when he fled at high speed from marked patrol units. After being confronted at a storage unit, he went left of center, and it was noted that multiple civilians in vehicles had to swerve out of the way to avoid a head-on collision.
Police say they tied Julius to multiple stolen vehicles recovered in the parking lot of his apartment complex, even though Section 18 of his lease agreement says tenants shall not engage in or permit unlawful activities.
At this time, the defense is asking the court to consider releasing Mr. Julius to CCAP enhanced or electronic home detention. Mr. Julius does have a place to stay.
Judge Brian McDonald denied that request.
So I don't have any confidence he'll abide by court orders and not interfere with the administration of justice.
So how did a felon with such a long criminal history end up with free housing? In a statement, Plymouth says, residents are screened for history of sex offenses, history with Plymouth Housing, and potentially other criminal histories depending on local laws. Any history that would make an individual ineligible to live in a particular building or raises significant and serious safety concerns would result in a denial. Based on that, it would appear his convictions for assault, ID theft, reckless driving, attempt to elude, drugs, and attempted forgery was not enough to deny him housing. Plymouth says it's important to understand why some people who experienced homelessness might have a criminal record in the first place. Crime often occurs when people lack the resources to meet their basic needs, like housing, food, and safety. At Plymouth, we provide stability to move people out of this cycle. Or in the case of Richard Julius, a safe and free place for his base of operations. When the Houghton Neighborhood Association learned about his history, a spokesperson wrote, "A tenant who has 57 warrants issued is shocking and unacceptable. That should be front page news," and added, "While I fully understand that Plymouth wants the best environment for their residents, this cannot play out in the vicinity of schools, daycares, and businesses when it comes to individuals with mental or drug challenges. Too many residents and business owners have been hurt by problems around such facilities." When asked about what steps are taken when a tenant like Julius is charged with multiple crimes, Plymouth Housing writes, "At Plymouth, we believe that everyone deserves a place to heal and that people are capable of change. If a current resident were to become involved in the criminal justice system, staff would engage with them to address potential underlying causes of the behavior as best they can. Plymouth and residents both have rights and responsibilities that must be respected. Any decisions on tenancy would involve consideration of building safety and what is permissible under the law."
So, with Richard Julius's trial coming up, has he been evicted? The Plymouth Housing lease agreement only says there has to be a preponderance of evidence to evict a tenant, not a conviction. When I asked, their spokesperson would only say that out of respect for the privacy of tenants, they do not comment on individual residents' circumstances.
To the families of these victims, please know that I have directed every resource necessary to investigate this case to bring the person or persons responsible to justice.
A top priority for Seattle police right now as they investigate a shooting in Pioneer Square that left 3 people dead and a 4th person seriously injured. It happened in the early morning hours of May 17th on South Washington Street near First Avenue. The Spotlight Shira Matsuzawa spoke with the mother of one of those victims about her daughter and the need to bring her killer to justice.
Oh, God.
A mother's pain.
I'm trying to be strong. It's just so hard.
Cut so deep. Talking is almost unbearable.
I just want to give her a hug and tell her that I love her. I'm sorry. I wish I could have saved her.
The last time Christina Rivas saw her daughter Kaylani was before she got ready to go out with her friends. Sitting next to her son, she told Vox 13 she gave her a hug and kiss and told her to be safe.
I just wish that I would have been able to give her a tighter hug, a deeper I love you, if I would have known. It's like I keep replaying that in my mind.
Just days later, Seattle police say someone shot 4 people in Pioneer Square. 3 people died. Kaylani was among those who lost their lives.
Happy birthday to you!
This is video of Kaylani when she turned 19 in February. Her loved ones say she was family-oriented, a ray of sunshine, and funny.
She had a really, really contagious laugh. You could hear Kaylani laughing a mile away. She just loved to lift up the room and just to have fun. Very fun personality.
Christina says knowing that the person who stole her daughter's light is still out there makes her want to throw up.
I pray that the Lord instills something in your heart to come forward, because it's not right. So many lives are shattered because of this. A beautiful little girl. She was so excited for life.
A life cut too short.
I do believe and have faith in my heart that I am going to see my baby again one day. And I am going to see her. I hope the rest of my years fly so fast so that I can see her again.
For the Spotlight, I'm Shira Matsuzawa.
Seattle police need your help to track down a black Tesla as part of the investigation. Now, to be clear, the driver or owner is not considered a suspect. Police want to review any evidence that may have been captured by the Tesla, possibly a Y model. It was seen leaving the area of South Washington Street shortly before 1:30 a.m. on Saturday, May 17th. Police believe it may have been a rideshare driver or someone who was in the area picking up another person. Anyone with information on this black Tesla should contact Seattle police. If you can identify the shooter and you want to stay anonymous, submit a tip right now to Crime Stoppers through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. Well, now to the horrific death of a toddler that made my head pop off. when I heard what little consequences these suspects are facing. Everett police arrested 5 people in connection with the overdose death of a 13-month-old last year. On April 24th of 2024, officers were called out to the Westmont neighborhood off Casino Road because a child was not breathing. Officers say when they walked inside, they noticed a burning smell in the house that they recognized as fentanyl. They found small blue fentanyl pills on the floor. They also found surveillance video of people in the house using drugs in front of kids. The 5 suspects were arrested between April 9th and May 1st of this year. And we've learned the suspects could not be charged with controlled substance felony homicide because the law does not specifically name fentanyl as endangerment, only meth. Instead, they're being charged with misdemeanor reckless endangerment. They were all booked into the Snohomish County Jail and then released. We've requested the charging documents and we'll be following up with more details and calls for action in the weeks ahead. A pit maneuver put an end to a dangerous chase in Thurston County that all started when a deputy tried to stop a driver who ran a stop sign onto a busy road. During the pursuit, the fleeing driver sideswiped a van, but thankfully didn't cause a crash. After the pit maneuver, the suspect was taken into custody at gunpoint. Deputies later learned he's a convicted felon with an active Department of Corrections escape warrant and a suspended license.
There's a couple of them that are shivering pretty bad.
Shivering cold and lost in a forest, a group of hikers, including 6 children, rescued by the King County Sheriff's Office with the help of a drone. The Sheriff's Office released video of this operation from late April. It highlights the good work of search and rescue crews and how a drone can help in more ways than one.
Do you know approximately how far off the trail they are, or from the trailhead they are?
Wandering in the woods near Cherry Creek Falls outside of Duval, a father called for help, and he wasn't alone.
Night fell at a really popular hiking area, and there was a dad there with a whole mess of kids.
6 kids in total, the youngest just 2 years old.
It's super easy to get turned around in that hiking area.
King County Sergeant Jason Stanley was part of the search and rescue team that night, and so was a drone pilot.
Do you still have the RP on the line?
Negative. They only have like 25% battery.
The father's cell phone battery was dropping, and so was the temperature. The group faced a long night in the low 50s with no food or water until they were spotted by the drone.
We just found them.
Crews on the ground made contact and learned some of the kids had stumbled into the creek.
Apparently some of them that went into the river, so some of them are very cold.
Those kids were wrapped in thermal blankets, and the drone pilot had more help to offer, putting a spotlight on their path to safety.
He was able to put some minds at ease and make the kids feel a little less anxious about it because he basically was able to make it almost daylight.
Sergeant Stanley recounted the rescue at a gathering in Carnation to mark National Search and Rescue Week.
We're bringing together all of those folks, whether it's the fire departments and paramedics, deputies, search and rescue volunteers, community members, legislators.
The sergeant had special praise for the community of search and rescue volunteers who bring a variety of skills to the table.
They're selfless. They devote hundreds and thousands of hours every year, unpaid. It's a huge community of people who are the most amazing people on earth.
Volunteers were part of the rescue near Cherry Creek Falls. Sergeant Stanley tells us some of them live near the trailhead, so they know the area like the back of their hands. For more than 48 hours, a street in Tacoma was closed off, a backyard dug up, and police would only say it was related to a cold case. That sparked speculation of a new lead in one of Washington's most well-known missing persons cases. The search on South Gunnison Street, less than a mile from the bowling alley, where little Tika Lewis disappeared back in 1999. The search ended with no evidence recovered, and then police finally confirmed it was related to Tika's disappearance. The Spotlight's Lauren Donovan spoke with Tika's mom, who remains convinced there are answers still ahead.
It was a sign of relief, but we're back at square one again. Where's Tika?
As everyone held their breaths, believing her daughter's cold case would come to a close, Teresa Kopetsky held mixed emotions in her heart.
It's been an emotional roller coaster from the first call I got.
Tacoma police came on camera to say,
fortunately, we did not find anything of evidentiary value related to this case. The case that we were out here looking into was the Tika Lewis case.
Confirming the rumors were true.
I can't give you exactly the information that we received or where it came from at this point, because there are still other things that we need to look into. But the leg that led us here to South Gunnison for now is finished.
Officer Shelby Boyd with TPD explains why they had to withhold that information.
We want to be able to not just locate somebody, if you will, but also to solve the crime. And so by giving out information related to that, we're losing some leverage in the prosecution of the case or in finding a suspect. So we really try at Tacoma to keep those details really tight.
When I found out that one of the investigators was out there, I knew it was mine. I knew it was about my daughter.
Teresa tells me she appreciates having communication directly from the chief of police, but she contends authorities need to share an image of the suspect to solve this decades-old cold case.
We just want closure. We want to know what happened.
Reporting for The Spotlight, I'm Lauren Donovan.
Tacoma police described the tip that led to this search as having several legs and said this particular lead was now exhausted. The department would not provide specifics on the tip or its source, citing ongoing investigative efforts.
I just don't know how you hit somebody and then you just leave them there.
A local mother struggling with the pain of a hit and run. Her son was almost killed on State Route 520 in Seattle and left with a traumatic brain injury. The driver who hit Dontrell Green and took off has not been caught. The Spotlight's Jennifer Dowling has the family's plea for justice and what troopers learned about the crash.
Dontrell is such a great kid. He's great to other people. He always made the family laugh.
Dontrell Green, set to turn 21 at the end of the month, was looking forward to celebrating his birthday at home with mom Catherine and older brother Jordan.
And he was always there for all of us.
The three were born on back-to-back dates.
We were all really excited to spend those milestone birthdays together.
Now the future is unclear after Dontrell nearly died April 6th. That after the Washington State Patrol says a driver hit him in this area of SR 520 near Montlake Boulevard as his girlfriend looked on in horror.
She saw it happen and then she held him till the ambulance came. I mean, it's the worst call that a parent can get.
WSP said that Dontrell lost control of his vehicle and hit a median or barrier. Then he got out and jumped over a median in order to walk for help. That's when a car, thought to be a Prius, hit him, leaving a piece of what looks like a headlight behind. Investigators note there appears to be red paint on it, as if the car was spray painted.
I just don't know how you hit somebody and then you just leave them there.
Family members created this fundraiser to help Dontrell. They say his brain injury is one of the most severe a crash victim can experience.
He'll squeeze your hands. It's still, some days it seems a little bit more like he is thoughtful about that, and some days it seems less clear. But it's promising.
The family holds on to hope he'll be able to celebrate a birthday at home once again and regain some quality of life.
He loved his family and he loved his siblings more than anything in this world, so we just want him to be okay. We just want him to be okay, that's all.
For The Spotlight, I'm Jennifer Dowling.
The car that hit Dontrell is believed to be a silver 2004 to 2000 Toyota Prius with damage to the front left side. Troopers believe it may be partially spray painted red and could be missing a front left headlight. If you have any information that might help troopers, please contact the Washington State Patrol. A miniature Highland calf who vanished mysteriously is home safe. This is a happy ending in the case of Daisy May. A Gig Harbor family is relieved to have their shaggy little cow back in her stall. The 4-month-old calf disappeared back on May 17th, prompting an extensive search by family and neighbors. Her owners don't think she escaped. They suspect someone tried to steal her because these animals are rare and expensive.
You can see she's really cute, and she is a mini Highland cow, so she is kind of a hot commodity. So if someone really, really wanted one and really didn't want to pay for one and do it the proper way, they could wrestle her and get her into a car.
The family filed a missing animal report with police and hired a company to search with a thermal drone. For 2 days, no sign of Daisy May until a neighbor reported a sighting, and the family was surprised where she turned up.
And we were like, oh my goodness, you saw her. Like where? Like where could she possibly be? She ended up being practically across the street from our house. There's a neighbor nearby that has a mini horse, and she was out on the side of the road in front of their property just eating grass.
The family says it was a hectic rescue mission because Daisy Mae darted off into the woods. A friend managed to dive on top of her, and then some neighbors with cattle wrangling experience helped lasso her up and carry her out of the woods. Now she's safe in her pen, where she will stay until they take steps to keep her more secure. King County firefighters are hailing the heroic actions of a bearded dragon. The lizard alerted his owner their home was on fire. South King posted this picture on Facebook of Spike the bearded dragon. The department says Spike's owner was taking a nap when a fire broke out in the bathroom. The man was so tired he slept through his fire alarm. That's when Spike jumped into action by jumping on his owner's face. Well, that woke him up, and he was able to put out the fire before it spread any further. Well done, Spike. That's going to do it for us tonight on The Spotlight. Until next week, I'm David Rose. Please stay safe.